Blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Today I got a couple of things extra, I guess, to share with you, but we'll get started today. We're reading in 1 Kings chapters 13 and 14, and then 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 18 through chapter 12, verse 16. And it was so funny because yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I mentioned that a lot of times 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles will just mirror each other. Well, today that didn't happen. I mean, it did overlap some, but it wasn't the exact same account. So a little different stories in each one of them. Like I said, added some information in 2 Chronicles that you didn't see in 1 Kings. And quick example, 1 Kings, you see that after Rehoboam had been reigning for 5 years, that Egypt came in and kind of like a bully took all the good stuff. But then we get a little bit more information in 2 Chronicles that Rehoboam and Judah had sinned and had turned away from God. And that's why Egypt came in. And then after Egypt left, they repented, and God, he just showed loving kindness towards them again for their repentance. So it's just a good example that it doesn't always add up. Like I said yesterday, sometimes, there's but we've got to look and make sure. We can't just take, I could have gone, First Kings today, we'll study that, and I'm not even going to look at Second Chronicles because I just assume that it's going to be the same, but it wasn't. So anyway, good reads out of both today. Also, a couple things I want to share with you, and I'll get into those. 1 Kings chapter 13, verses 7 through 10, God sends a prophet to the king of Israel. And this is Jeroboam, and it's not Rehoboam. Their names are spelled very similar. They sound very similar, but Rehoboam with the R is over Judah, and Jeroboam with the J is over Israel. So God sends this prophet to Jeroboam in Israel. And the prophecy is fulfilled almost instantly, or half of it is. And then the man of God is going to return back to Judah because he's from the other kingdom. And God had told him, God himself had told this prophet, this man of God, to go deliver this message to the king and then go straight home. So, and at first when you read it, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Just go straight home, but it doesn't make a lot of sense why that's added in there. It doesn't seem like it'd be that significant until we see the king, even though he prophesied against him, the king immediately says, hey, why don't you come back to my castle and I'll feed you from my table and I'll give you some gifts. Wow, that would be pretty enticing. And then it kind of starts to make sense why God told this prophet, go straight home, don't do it. And he does the right thing and he refuses the king. He says, I got to go. So on his way home, a prophet sends word to him that, hey, God told an angel to tell me, to tell you to come to my house and get something to eat before you go home. And instead of just saying, no, I heard from God, I know what God told me, I'm going to go home. It's kind of like the chief told the lieutenant to tell the sergeant to tell you, to tell me to tell you. Well, no, I need to hear the order myself instead of saying I need to go to the source. If God gives me a direct order and then there's a counter order, I need to hear it from the same authority. I don't need to hear it from a lesser authority. The contradictory or the taking back of that order needs to come from the authority that gave it to me, or an authority that's higher than that. But here we see God gave the order, and then he says, well, an angel. Well, and then it came to me, and this prophet's on the same level, and he says, I'm telling you, it's a good word for us and a reminder of obeying authority, and what authority we need to listen to. If God tells us something, nobody can untell us or undo what God told us except God himself. Remember that. This prophet falls into the trap. He goes to eat and he's killed because he disobeyed God. There was some rebellion there. And it seems a little unfair, but when you really look at it, he was enticed and deceived the same way Eve was. The serpent came and deceived Eve with this fruit. Hey, look at this, and that looked good. Well, this other prophet comes to him and says, hey, I'm going to deceive you because somebody told me, and there's this food. Doesn't this look good? So there's a lot going on here. Jumping, oh man, I'm running out of time. Jumping in the second part, Rehoboam gets this opportunity to hear from God, and he listens to God, but then he refuses to follow God. Something I learned from seminary class that Dr. Vic Anderson told us one day. He said, your faith, there's a concrete way of looking at it and explaining it. Your faith comes from your knowledge of God, your knowledge of what you've read, and then once you've read it and you get that knowledge, you agree that it's true. And once you agree it's true, you commit to it. These are the three things it takes to have faith. If you don't commit to it, it's not faith. Just a good lesson, and it really meant a lot to me to hear it put that way, so I hope it helps you. The second thing I wanted to throw out there real quick is when it comes to all the kings of Judah and Israel in 1 Kings all the way through 2 Chronicles, all the ones in between, I have a great PowerPoint that I put together a couple of years ago that show the kingdom they're in, the years that they reigned, the opposite king that reigned, and any major details and events that happened in their reign. If you're interested in that at all, email me, Chuck at fcpo.org, and I'll send you the PowerPoint. It's really cool if you're into looking at the kings and the things that happened during their reign. Real quickly, in 2 Chronicles chapter 12 verse 8, a lesson in God's authority again. God says, you know, if you don't want to obey my authority, I'll put you under the authority of the king of Egypt, and we'll see how you like living under his authority. Wow. Anyway, lots of authoritative lessons today and good stuff. So tomorrow we're going to be in 1 Kings chapter 15, starting in verse 1. And then we're going to, chapter 15, and we're going to read verses 1 through 24. Then we're going to jump into 2 Chronicles, and we're going to read chapters 13, 14, 15, and 16. So 4 chapters out of 2 Chronicles. So anyway, you guys be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.